Hey everyone, this is Mazzy, and this is a Whack-A-Mole number 73 Cinema Edition, where I pull random movies from my movie collection, as I'm a big movie fan, big cinemaphile. One thing, just to tell you, this is taped on July 11th, 2020. This weekend, maybe it goes beyond the weekend, but if you know about Criterion, I would say Criterion releases are the equivalent of MoFi for vinyl. So they're high-end, really amazing transfers, director approved usually, or someone related. So they're really carefully planned. But several times a year, Barnes and Noble or Criterion, different times I believe, have 50% off sale. So right now, go to Barnes and Noble online in America, I think only, and they have the 50% off. So these usually sell for $30 to $40, so they're half price. So if you're into certain films, and I have a handful, and every 50% off sale I usually grab up a few. They have a lot of great film classics. They have a lot of independent films. They have a lot of foreign films, and these are kind of movies that I'm a fan of. But I've gotten a lot of requests to do more cinema things. So just before we start, a very favorite film of mine is a Robert Altman film, McCabe and Mrs. Miller. It's a darkly shot film, and just beautiful. Came out in 1971. This is Warren Beatty, Julie Christie. They used the music throughout of early folk music of Leonard Cohen songs. But I remember seeing this in the theater when it came out, and it just mesmerized me. Now it's a slow-moving, well thought out, well-written film. Robert Altman obviously did MASH and Nashville, Brewster McCloud, and many other films. So The Player, which is one of my favorite movies about Hollywood. So anyway, this is my Mazzy recommends McCabe and Mrs. Miller. You know, depends on your musical taste, but it's a personal favorite of mine. It's beautifully shot, but watch it at night just because a lot of the scenes are very dark, very dark. Anyway, I'm gonna pick 10 films randomly. I'll do 5 and 5. Just knock those photographs over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zodiac. This is a movie by David Fincher, one of my favorite directors, one of the most interesting cinematic directors on the scene today. Mindhunter, there's a series of 2 seasons so far he's done on Netflix, I believe. And you know, he started out in the 80s as a film director doing mostly music videos like Madonna, when, you know, the MTV heyday. He came out of the gate, just exploded with Aliens 3, which was kind of panned by critics, but he made The Game. He made, obviously, Zodiac. He's Seventh Sins, Sinful, Seven Sins. I'm blanking out with Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow, Morgan Freeman. Anyway, he's made a lot of really wonderful, interesting movies. He's made the one about Facebook, the social network, and just a great film director. This is about the Zodiac killer in the San Francisco Bay Area in the late 60s, early 70s. It was never captured or caught. And this, in a way, is very much like a newspaper thriller of a team of reporters finding out what happens. There's some chilling things about the murder and everything, but I wouldn't call it one of his goriest films at all. But it's got a great cast of Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and Robert Downey Jr., especially as his reporters at the San Francisco Chronicle and detectives back in San Francisco. And I remember the reality of this going on. So they recreate these scenes just beautifully. And it's a long movie. I think the first 2/3 work better than the final, but gorgeous film. Zodiac. Oh, he made Seven. That's the name of it, not Seven Deadly Sins. And he made also Panic Room, and the movie with Brad Pitt, Fight Club. There you go. See, I knew it would come to me. Slapshot, Paul Newman. This is, let's see, George Roy Hill directed this. George Roy Hill also, they made one of my favorite films, Slaughterhouse-Five, based on a Kurt Vonnegut book. This is a hysterical film. It's got these three brothers in it. Let's see, what are their names? The Hanson brothers, these hockey players that almost look like triplets with glasses. And Paul Newman is a down-and-out hockey coach working with a team that are a bunch of losers, but a bunch of sad sacks. And these three brothers start just hitting people, and violent hockey. But it's sort of a little bit of a black comedy, but one of my favorite sports films because it's not a normal sports film. It's really about the character Paul Newman, and love this film, Slapshot. This came out in the 70s as well, I think. What year was this? I don't remember what year, but it's a really entertaining film, cult film in a way. Slapshot, Paul Newman, and the Hanson brothers, hockey brothers. Ants. Hey, Woody Allen in a DreamWorks film, in an animated film. So we got a revisit of Woody Allen. Let's see, right? Is this the one with Woody Allen? Doesn't even say Woody Allen. Yeah, Woody Allen's in this. Anyway, good movie. I remember this because my son was growing up, and the whole animated thing that was coming out. This is DreamWorks' entry, I believe, into it after, Bug's Life and everything. But this is sort of the more mature film, and this is a wonderful film. And Woody Allen voices the main ant in this. Sort of leads a revolt unwittingly. So very Woody Allen. It's almost like a great Woody Allen movie if you don't like Woody Allen movies. So Ants. Highly recommended, especially if you have kids and you're one of those parents that has to watch with your kid and tire of the same things over and over and over again. Smart movie. Everyone Says I Love You. This is a Woody Allen movie. This is the one, this is the one where everybody sings, as I believe, right? It's a musical comedy. He had all the actors sing. Not one of my favorite films, but to me, every Woody Allen film has some great moments. And I'm a big Woody Allen fanatic, if you've seen my videos of him that the Archivist and I did on Woody Allen. So, Alan Alda, Woody Allen, Drew Barrymore, Lucas Haas, Goldie Hawn, Edward Norton, Natalie Portman, Julia Roberts, Tim Roth. But another Woody Allen movie. He makes average of one a year. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Robert Rodriguez, who his stuff's great. And this is with Antonio Banderas. And it's and Selma Hayek and Johnny Depp, Jenny Trejo. Really great, kind of the violent film. Very much in the Tarantino vein. And of course, they've worked together on Death Proof and the matinee type films there. So Once Upon a Time in America, Robert Rodriguez. Cool film. I mean, he made the Spy Kids series. I took my son to when those came out. So they're a fun series, again, to take your kid. Us adults, when you have little kids, you want to take things, you like when they make films that you can enjoy too, and they don't sort of just bow down to the kids. Now, I'm not against that. That's what it's about. But, if you got to watch a film over and over and over again, like Spy Kids, at least you can enjoy it on a different level as well. Different level than maybe what your kids are going to watch. So, there you go. 5 more. 1, 3, 4, 5. The Point animated classic that Nielsen wrote. There's a great soundtrack by Harry Nielsen of The Point. If you know the Nielsen song "Me and My Arrow," "Me and My Arrow," doodaloo doo doo doo, and Ringo is in this. I think there was a version, as I recall, a version with and without Ringo. This was narrated by Ringo Starr and songs written by Harry Nielsen. Fish out of water story about this place and the land that everyone has a pointed head except for him. So he's the outcast. And it's him with his dog. It's really, again, another great thing that you can watch with your kids, but it works on a different level. So it's great for adults. And of course, great soundtrack and great music by Harry Nielsen. The Coen Brothers, The Man Who Wasn't There, Billy Bob Thornton, and it's got, oh God, what's his name? The Mafia guy. The Mafia guy. Well, Scarlett Johansson's in it, and James Gandolfini. We all know him, the late James Gandolfini. This and Frances McDormand, of course, who's married to one of the Coen brothers. Great noir film, really interesting. One of their films that's photographed, shot in black and white, or at least transferred to black and white. So it's a great noir. Anything Coen Brothers does to me is wonderful. Sometimes they need 2 or 3 viewings before you catch on, but there's always some great stuff. This film looks incredible, and again, I'm a big Coen Brothers fan, so I collect all their films as well. A Mighty Wind, one of the great mockumentaries by Christopher Guest with the same troupe he's been using since, well, Spinal Tap he didn't direct, but a lot of the same people from Spinal Tap are now the folk swingers and the folk singers in this. Hilarious. And I think that, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are the heart of this, of Mickey and Mickey, is that it? The folk duo. But this is hysterical. If you like folk music, even if you don't like folk music, A Mighty Wind is hysterical. They're send up on this, and they mock it, yet there's a certain reverence there they have for this music, and it's really, really well done. But love this one, A Mighty Wind. One of my favorites of the Christopher Guest series of movies. For Woody Allen again, Alice. This is beautifully shot. There's a color and richness in this and cinematography. And let's see, Carlo De Palma is the director, the DP on this, who's an Italian DP. I'm not sure if he worked with Fellini or not. And Santo Loquasto has been Woody Allen's set designer, production designer on so many of his movies, and this is a gorgeous film. There's, of course, Mia Farrow. Whatever you're going to say about Woody Allen, I'm a big fan. He writes amazing parts for women, and he photographs them beautifully. And I think, some of Mia Farrow's best work, as crazy as it seems now because of the situation between them, was done with Woody Allen. Obviously, Rosemary's Baby and several other films, but think of all the great parts that she had that Woody wrote for her. Alice is kind of a little bit of surreal. It's also got William Hurt, Judy Davis, Blythe Danner and Alec Baldwin and Joe Mantegna, Bernadette Peters, Sybil Shepherd. A little mystic of Chinese herbs and things in this, but again, not a very of the well-known Woody Allen movies, but a beautiful movie and really well done. Obviously some romance thrown in. And lastly, one of my favorites of the sort of the cult horror movies, but to me it's a combination of horror and the Three Stooges, is Army of Darkness. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. the head or the most famous B actor actually has an autobiography I read years ago of him as a B actor. I think B actor's in the title. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and what's his name? Robert Tapper are the three guys, three friends who grew up in Detroit or near Detroit, Michigan, and made The Evil Dead independent film, and then Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead is one of the scary motherfucking films. And they got to be sort of tongue-in-cheek, especially in the second one, and especially in this one. This is the third one. This is kind of their big budget one when they got, I think De Laurentiis funded this, and he goes back in time, and it is so funny. We watched this in the house so much. I've probably seen this 25, 30 times because it's that funny. It's scary, but over the top scary. Three Stooges type of, hey Mo, sweetly kind of stuff going on with this horror film. This is an expanded edition with outtakes and all the bells and whistles and everything. But I love Army of Darkness. So I'm not a big horror fan. I'm not a huge fan of the chop 'em up Saw type movies. But this to me is a perfect happy medium, but it really pushes it. And Sam Raimi, y'all know, got famous, even more famous later, directing the first couple of Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, and made some great films. He has just a great eye, and his camera style was and is very unique. The way he does his, point of view camera shots. Anyway, Army of Darkness. That's the Whack-A-Mole number 73 Cinema Edition. Remember, Criterion 50% off. If you're into movies, Criterion ones are the way to go. Blu-ray or DVD, as I recall. Mazzy loves you. Take care.